Hi, welcome to another edition of Bob Talk. I know it's been a while, but it's taken us a while for a lot of reasons, and we thought we'll give you a story to start off an inspiring note before we bring you a lot more stories from the city. And I've got Girish Shet. Let's say he's a Mangalorean, but also made Bangalore his home for a while. Now we flocked between Bangalore and Bangalore. Why are we talking to Girish today if he's not a Bangalorean? It's because there's a lot of stories about Girish from Bangalore and also for life. Girish Shet, welcome to Bob's Radio. Absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Rio, for having me at Bob's Radio. It's been a pleasure. And the day you called me that would you want to be a part of this, I was more than happy. And you said I'm half Mangalorean, half Bangalorean. So let me put I'm a pakka local Bangalorean as well.
I'll agree to that, especially the offline stories that I've heard of. You know how you stayed in Srirampura and also mentioned this is the area of the gangsters, and how you mentioned of sleeping on terraces during summers, and during the summers we used to wear winter clothes. It is a solid nostalgia kick for a lot of us.
Yes.
But today we're not here to discuss only about Bangalore, but also about you, a life story of yours, which is inspiring, and a connection that we have is about radio.
Yes.
Going back into, I'm from the radio background, and you as well are.
Yes.
You were in sales
Yes.
at one of the prime radio stations in Bangalore. This was in 2007 to 10. I was still studying back in the day, but they say a lot about very polished. I mean, they say a lot about radio life, where especially if you're in sales and if you're in that media scene, they make it sound like it's all rosy and very what do you say, like it's very glamour and glitzy. But if you're in sales in the media business, trust me, it's nowhere close to that. Because I've seen how sales guys in media have been going through the kind of thing that they've been going through, and the way they get treated as well. So I know you're a hustler just by that thought itself. But coming into thing, let me ask you for straight up. What was radio back in the day and what is it like today?
Okay, so giving you a clear picture, back then radio was definitely a struggle, unlike what today. Radio is a much accepted mode of media compared to what it was then, because it was just the beginning of radio. And for people, when you said radio, they only knew All India Radio, nothing else. And then All India Radio wasn't as funny and as interesting as what it is today. And people thought you are the one of those who will read Aaj Ka Samachar and all those things, which wasn't the case. But then radio was the new glamour world for the listeners, and radio was the pakka local format of connecting
media and connecting point with the audiences.
Absolutely, you can't have a better medium of media than radio when it comes to local. Like, it's pakka local. You are so local that you talk anything and everything is about that city.
True.
You would not talk anything else apart from that. And that's where I think the evolution start of radio, and we were one of those early guys who adapted to that mode of media. And it was hard.
I completely get it when you say hard, because it's a new medium, and it also has like curiosity amongst people, but also is like, wait, am I going to spend so much on the radio? Is it going to bring me the dividends of sorts? But then it was the mainstream media for a lot of people back in the day.
Very true.
Sadly, to just frame it up, today it's not the way it was back in the day. For a lot of things that have evolved in terms of digitally, so radio has not got that much of a market share, but it still has a prominence. It
Absolutely.
still has its presence. Like, a lot of people do go to radio for the persons behind the mic, for the branding that comes in, for the audience that still is devoted to listening to radio on the way.
I think purely because the content what RJs bring across, right? They are amazing. I mean, just listening to a voice of a person and being immersive into that conversation is just brilliant. I think that's one of the best way to connect to anybody. And you see everybody today on the car or while they're traveling on a metro, whatever, they're still listening to radio and trying to get what's happening in the city as well. Right?
Metro, I don't know, but cars definitely.
Definitely, sure. Yes.
And I've also heard this thing about how radio is, I wouldn't say I've heard it, I've been a part of it anyway, been on the mics as well. So we call this as the theater of the mind.
Absolutely.
And whatever we speak behind the mic, the ones who are listening are going to be visualizing it.
Very true.
So when I think about this, and I think about at a time when there was not much of the internet, or people like Darius or Rohit Bakers or the jocks from back in the day, the way they did it, and they just kept us entertained, and you always want to listen to them. And I was a big fan of RJ Priti back then, even till daytime. And when I listened to them, it was just about, you carry yourself into that theater and you're just watching a show in your mind while you're listening to it in your ears. And it was
so true.
And to have been a part of that medium and to keep your content so crisp, I feel I'm blessed in a certain way. To know how content is created and to hold on to that audience's attention span. I still believe it is the best medium that is out there.
I totally agree with you, and I also want to add one more point. It's also the voice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't imagine the way how a person can express, and their voice can just make you feel what they're going through, right? What the storytelling is so beautiful. And you rightly said, it's the theater of the mind, right? They just make you walk through what they want to tell you, right?
Yeah.
And that's just amazing the way it is.
And just to add to this, and I'm going to mention this, this is about one of the persons I worked with and someone who has actually schooled me in a lot to do with radio, is when I heard this person first time, I'm like, who's going to listen to this Agni Auntie content, man, and everything? And it's always been that case where for me, every time I said something about something like, or someone, I've ended up working in that space or working with that person or doing something, and I'm like, whether it be my college, whether it was the radio, and Rubina, so her voice when she was in Fever, I used to listen to it and I'm like, man, who's going to listen to this kind of, are there even people for this? But then you realize there is that many amount of people who listen to the kind of stories. And Rubina, with that signature style, she would say, man, Rubina. And I was like, and from there to just sitting with her during the shows, I was like, this is what I used to curse at one point in time. But yeah, it's evolved over time. And now it's all about social media that is running the roofs. But away from the radio, life has been very interesting for a lot of people and for you as well, taking you on different journeys. And one of them is how you went on to start two companies, one partnered with somebody and the other was all by yourself.
Yes.
Now, the one that you did with a couple of people was something to do with merchandising.
Very true.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so back in 2015-16 is when we started a company called Galaxy. So I partnered with a junior of mine from college, and we had this brilliant idea of doing merchandise, right? And then back then the merchandise word was a cliche, and a lot of people didn't understand what merchandise was all about, and India was new to that. And we started merchandise where we got Pro Kabaddi League. So we had 6 teams and we were selling their merchandise in terms of jerseys, cups, mugs, caps, keychains, you name it. So all of them we were doing, and it was a very good business when we started. But then the problem there was we had this seasonality. So we used to have business only through a certain month of the year, and rest of the months were not really too much of a business. So that's why we had to pivot, and we started something where we said we need to have a 365 days business. And when we started buying licenses from brands like Marvel or DC or Network 18 and all those things, Rick and Morton, you have a lot of such characters that we did. But then that needs a lot of capital, and we were a bootstrap, and initially we didn't realize we invested, and then that didn't really go too long, because the minute you invest on the license, then your production gets hit and you need money for production. And then since we were a bootstrap, it was getting difficult day by day. We fueled it as much as possible. We ran it for 7 years, and then finally back in 2021 we had to shut it down though. But then there was a good learning that we came across. How do you partner with brands? How brands also create different streams of revenue. Like for everybody think, okay, DC is only about movies or cartoon characters, but then they have so many other ways of making money, right? Licensing was the biggest stream of revenue. And that's when you really start thinking, okay, there's not just one way of doing things. You can do same thing in multiple manner and still get revenue out of it. And it was a good learning that I came across. And then once after we shut down that business, then I said merchandise as own for myself, I can create that. And for Weekend on Wheels, so my YouTube channel, Instagram channel is known as Weekend on Wheels. That's where I create content on auto. And I said, why don't I create merchandise for my fan followers, right? And I launched a t-shirt which was a limited edition, and people loved the design, people bought a lot of them. And I said, I'm not going to make it like a hardcore business which is throughout the year. Instead, I'll make it limited. That's when it'll sell a lot.
All of us have this point in life where we go through difficult times. The business going down is one of them, but there are also times when it's not just the business, but a lot of factors start going down, and then it tends to give you that point in life whether it makes you or breaks you. And you had one such moment in life which was related to your health. You had a heart attack.
Yes.
Could you tell us what happened and what did you do to bounce back off of it?
Sure. So you might have heard this phrase saying that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, and that's exactly what happened. I had to shut down the business along with my partner, and then with that also came this one thing which happened, which was Feb 4th, 2020. Feb 3rd, I was in Bangalore. Feb 4th, I'm back in Bangalore, a regular day. I'm on my regular walk. I'm walking, and suddenly I started sweating, and I'm super happy about that because I'm sweating, or my workout is working. And then suddenly I have this very strong piercing sensation on my back, and then suddenly I feel my entire left hand is kind of feeling weak, and then I'm salivating, and then I'm spitting. There's blood stain. Suddenly I see my jaw is locking, and then in time my mouth has become the loose and all those things. And I'm happy about this stuff. I'm thinking, oh, today my workout is absolutely good. And while all of this is happening, I'm still walking. So it's about 1.5 kilometers.
Right.
I normally used to do 5 kilometers. So 1.5 kilometer in this. And then I said, something is not right today. So let me cut short. And then I had to walk another 500 meters before I could cut short. And I come back home and I sit at the step. I'm not comfortable. I go inside the house. I sit in a couch like this, not comfortable. I go try to sleep, not able to sleep, very uncomfortable. And then my parents and my family came in and they said, what's happening? I gave them all the symptoms, and my mom came to know there's something wrong. And then immediately I was rushed into hospital. And then I was done an echo. There they came to know there's a huge difference in the heartbeat. And then they said, you might have got a heart attack, you need to rush in. So we had a second opinion, same thing. And then next thing I see, I'm at the hospital, and they said we need to do an angiogram and figure out. And then next thing I see, I'm in the hospital theater, and I had an angioplast, and I had a 90% block in my right artery. And next thing I opened my eyes, I'm in an ICU. I was there for 48 hours. And this was the worst nightmare of my entire life. And this went to a huge depression. So I was under depression for about 8 months. I didn't step out of the house for more than 6 months. I could not stand in front of more than 2 people. I could not have a conversation. I was completely depressed. I had anxiety issue. I had palpitation. And all of this was happening at the same time. And I started thinking, why me? I mean, I'm one of the most outspoken person who does a lot of things, very energetic. I'm into physical activity, all those things. But then I think it was also partially true with the lifestyle when I was in Bangalore, and also to do with my food habit, whatever it was. But then this happened. And one day I was just sitting to myself and I said, I need to reclaim my life. No matter what, I need to get back to what I do. And I've been an avid motorcyclist. I said the only thing which can get back me to what I do the best is motorcycle. So let me do a ride. And there was a special edition of IBW, which is India Bike Week. Normally India Bike Week happens in Goa. This time it was happening in Pune. So I said, I'm going to ride from Bangalore to Pune. I went, met my doctor, exceptionally good doctor, one Mr. named Narsim Pai from Bangalore. He did a complete physical check of mine, and he said, you're completely fine, you're good to go. And they also helped me with other doctors on the way if something goes wrong. I start the ride. I partnered with Honda. Honda had just launched a motorcycle called Honda CB350. I ride that. I go to Pune. I attend the event. All fine. I come back. But I'm still not happy with the way things are.
Is this because, like, let's say we've all been at our physical best and you're not able to do something, and that tends to eat into your mind space as well? Or was it also because you were not feeling content with what you were achieving?
So see, I the point was to achieve that I'll travel from Bangalore, go to India Bike Week, attend that, and come back. That's an achievement already. It's not about achievement. It's something within you that you're still not happy that you're full 100% of yourself.
It's like I said, so it's basically because you've been at your 100% fitness before this particular incident, and after that you're not feeling, because you're not able to do a couple of things, and then you maybe hit this achievement some point in time, but then you're not at your 100% within yourself at a fittest level.
I think it's not from the fittest levels. Physical fitness is, I think, the second thing. I think it's more to do with the mental fitness. Though your physical fitness is up to 100%, your mental fitness still thinks you're not 100% physically and mentally.
It's a block that is coming because of that incident.
Exactly. And then I said, I need to do something really different which can challenge me physically and mentally at the same time. And that's when there was a taboo around electric scooters and electric vehicles. And I said, I want to do a ride from Kanyakumari to Khardungla.
Right.
And I said, I want to do a K2K ride. And K2K for everybody means Kanyakumari
Kanyakumari
to
to
Kashmir.
Kashmir.
So my K2K was Khardungla. And I said, I want to do on an electric scooter. While everybody says electric scooter, you had issues with range anxiety, you had scooters blasting every here and there, you had durability problem, you had trust issues. Not many big brands used to do that.
Let's say it was a stigma that no one was going to use an electric bike, at least for a ride like this.
Exactly. Very true. And that's when I said, this is something I want to do. And if I'm able to do this, then I can probably be at my best. And I started planning for something like this. And if you want to do an electric ride, it's not simple. There is a lot of planning you need to put
Absolutely.
across, right? And then I went ahead and I said, I started hunting for scooter which I can do this.
One thing that actually I'm thinking that could have played a bigger factor is at least the amount of kilometers you can hit and plan accordingly based on that, right?
Exactly.
Because your range will be that much.
Yes. So I went ahead and I said, every scooter that I take, maximum is going to give me 70-80 kilometers mileage, and this is not going to take me anywhere. So I had to figure out a workaround. And then that is exactly time a brand called Bounce, Bangalore-based company.
The same bike rental.
Yes. They came in action and they brought in a scooter called Bounce Infinity E1, which was a swappable battery. And that's when the big idea just clicked into my mind. Swappable battery. Here I have a chance. If I take additional batteries, I can do extra miles and do a ride of this kind. And I went ahead and I spoke to the brand and I asked, can I get additional batteries? And they said, why? I want to do a K2K ride. And they said, are you serious? What are you talking? I said, I'm damn serious. I want to do this. And what motivates you? And I gave him the story that, I'm down with this and I want to just bounce back in my life. And the name Bounce Back itself, so it's just resurrecting what I want to do, and let's try doing that. And they said, okay, we can give you additional batteries. And what do you intend to do? I said, I wanted to set up a record. What record? India Book of Record, riding from Kanyakumari to Khardungla. And I had shared this idea before with a couple of friends of mine, and everybody said, are you mad? What are you planning to do? What is this? I mean, people don't use it to commute in the city.
In the city itself, right?
Yeah, what are you up to? And I said, no, this is something I want to do because it's more to do personal and nothing else. I want to just bounce back in life. And I planned hard for this. A lot of my friends came together, helped me. My family supported me big time. And I started this ride. The very first day, not even 150 kilometers into the ride, I started crying. And I said, no, this is not what I wanted to do. This is absolutely not something that I really want to do. And I'm in tears and I just kind of gave up kind of a thing. And I said to my boys that, I had videographer, photographer, drone coming along with me.
Because you were setting a record.
Yes,
right?
I was setting a record. So for that, you need to have a proper proof of entire journey. And then they said, no, you need to continue. How can you do this and all of it? So I said, somehow I'll reach my next destination, start from Kanyakumari. And the temperature was 38 degrees. I was sweating like pig, all my edges, right? And I'm wearing a riding gear which is a waterproof. So there's no breathing also happening. And I somehow reach my next destination and I call my friend and I start crying and I said, no, I can't go ahead. This is not what I wanted to do. I think I've done a biggest mistake of my life. And they said, what are you talking? This is not that Girish that we know, you can't do this. Give it a day or two, think about it. And if you're physically not fit, then
Come back.
And if it's to do with something that you are not comfortable through your mind, then don't think too much. They motivated me. I said, okay, I'll take another day chance. And I started riding the second day. Same thing, 150 kilometers down the lane, I'm like, bro. The reason is, the scooter is at maximum 55 kilometers per hour speed.
I can understand. I have an electric bike. And no matter how much you throttle, it just doesn't go that far.
Second point, you have a max range of 60 kilometers, a single battery. So every hour you have to change the battery. The third thing is you have a riding gear which does not breathe, so you're actually sweating like a pig. And then fourth thing is peak summer, which I'm traveling. So all this were playing a huge role, and as is, I was not mentally so strong at that point in time when I was starting this ride. I gave it a second day, again same thing, and I said somehow we'll reach the next destination and we'll see what can be done. And there was a 18-year kid who was along with me, the drone guy, and he said, he called me Mama. Mama, what are you thinking? You should be doing this ride, and you got us into this. And I just blasted the entire team. You guys are sitting on the car and you're coming and you're telling me I'm riding in the hot sun and I'm going through hell. What do you guys think? And I said, you're the one who decided to do it. It's not us. What are you blaming us for? We are here to do what you asked us to do for. And then I said, okay, fine, let's take another day. And the third day, somehow managed to reach Hyderabad. And I said, should I really go ahead? I called my parents and my family. And they said, you're not the kind of person who would want to give up at this point of time. You wanted to come back in your life. You wanted to achieve something. Go ahead and do it. And if you're physically not able to do that, then back out. Otherwise, go ahead, do it. I mean, there's so many people who've, have confidence in you and rested their interest in you. So why do you want to let them down? I said, I'll take you one more day. And the fourth day is when I completed 1,000 kilometers.
On fourth day. So 4 days to 1,000 kilometers.
And I think that is when I was in the fullest of my life, right? I was so happy that we've done 1,000 kilometers, which is 1/4 of the ride. And I just celebrated. I called the entire team and I was just dancing on the road and it was celebration. And I looked at the scooter and I just kissed her and I said, I want to name you. And it was a red color scooter. And I said, you're a gem of a scooter and your name is Ruby. Because gem and ruby goes along, and I named that as Ruby. And I said, thank you so much for getting me so far. And we've done 1/4. And let's enjoy from now. Let's do what we're here for. And the next 13 days was one of the most beautiful days of my life. Well, I traveled crossing multiple states. So started with Tamil Nadu and then into Karnataka, then Kerala, then you get into Telangana, Hyderabad, and then you go to MP, UP, you get into Delhi, Noida, and then go to Kashmir, and then go to Punjab, and then go to Ladakh. And that feeling, my God, it was the best 17 days of my life, where me as Girish was zero when I started, was at 100% back then again. And I felt I've achieved it all.
You said it right. Like there's a thing about life as well. When you're at your lowest and you want to do something, you want to get away from it. It's not like it's going to happen at day one. You're going to be having challenges, mental blocks, and everything is going to go down south for you. But then for you to just climb up that climb, when you just get out of that burrow and say, that's when it hits you, and then you see the beauty of life just falling in place the way you want it to.
Very true, very true. I think, and one more thing, you have to be mentally very strong, saying that you cannot back down, and there is a time when you will back down.
Yeah.
And I think that's when the beauty of
acceptance
and also the beauty of your friends and family comes into picture, right? The way they believe in you. Where you would not have believed in you, they believe in you, and that is when you said, I can't let people who believe in me.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm a zero at this point in time.
But there's a belief of so many more people.
Exactly. And that positivity is what inspires you to go ahead. And that positivity gives you not the 100% charge, but at least that 10% charge to again start.
Yeah.
Okay. You may not go the whole way, but then that 10% charge is enough for you to start. And the whole problem comes is when you have to start. And once you start, I think you need to have that determination that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to do, this for myself, for my friends, my family, and everybody else who's believed into this. And then we started moving ahead, and then I start seeing people coming and talking to me, kahan se aaye ho? Then people who can read the number plate and tell, oh, Karnataka se, yahan pe kaise? लाइक राइड करके आया हूँ यहाँ पे, कैसे मतलब
इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ी पे.
इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ी पे ये आग नहीं लग जाएगी?
And I remember this very fondly as well, that those were the times when electric vehicles were new, and I used to frequent the Yulu bikes back then.
Okay.
So I used to stand in the signals and भैया कितना देती है? I'm like मेरा गाड़ी नहीं है, भाड़े का है. And then it would be like, wow. And then for you to just think about, okay, I'm going to do an electric bike. 13 days is what you took. And
17 days in full.
17 days is what you took. And the mindset itself, like from your health being in one place to not, the frustrations are like endless, right? Like because you're not able to hit the range and the speeds, the weathers and all of this.
I think the weather is one of the major player, right? So when you start, you have 38 degrees temperature, and as you climb up, it will just only go worse. When you are at Hyderabad, it's 42 degrees. Madhya Pradesh gets 48. UP gets 48. And when you enter Noida, it's 52. Your Delhi is 52. And when you go further, it's the same, 50. And you are dripping all edges. I mean, there are times I remember in Noida, when I was crossing Noida, I've just dozed off because of heat wave. I'm riding and the scooter had a cruise control. It was locked at 50 kilometers per hour, and I'm riding and I'm just, my head is going this way. And I realized the scooter is going, and I'm like, just, dozed off. And this happened multiple times. And I'm lucky, and I pray to God that thanks for keeping me alive.
You had a purpose, man.
Yes, I think God believed in me, and that's why he kept me alive. Otherwise, I'm telling you, it was very, very difficult. And there's one stage at crossing Gurgaon and going forward, I just could not take. I just stopped the vehicle, took all my riding gear, and I was just lying down like this. And I said, please pour water on me. I'm like burning. I'm like literally burning. Please pour water in me. And then I took a break for half an hour, and I'm just trying to rejuvenate myself, because I was completely drained out. And the heat wave hits you so hard, you can't even imagine. You can't even believe that you will not realize, you'll just doze off, and things can go wrong in just split second.
Like, I wouldn't understand how a heat wave is like without experiencing it, but I know it's pretty harsh. Because even for us here, with a little bit of a heat here, we complain. And when you're riding in those thick gears, I'm sure it's been quite a task. Through these terrains that you've gone through, let's start with Tamil Nadu itself. The first mental blockage was braking to travel from here till there. Then the weather comes into play, right? Now, through these times, you also get experiences of terrains, of people and cultures of sorts. This is the beauty of traveling.
Yes.
And in this, which was your most memorable spot through this journey?
Okay, so Pinch Tiger Reserve in Maharashtra. This was the most memorable time when I was there. So it just happened, I'm traveling and I suddenly see a tiger reserve. I'm like, wow, tiger reserve. I want to go there. I want to explore this. And we take a turn, deviate, and get into Pinch Tiger Reserve at Maharashtra. And then the minute I park, right, the people who are working there, about 8-9 people just come and, circle me. And I'm like, what's happening? I've done nothing wrong, please. They're like, kahan se aao bhai? And then one of the other guy looks, ye Karnataka se hai. अब चला क्या है? नहीं, पैदल आया मैं. गाड़ी में लेके आए? नहीं, पैदल आया. Then he comes, looks at the scooter and like, कितना देता है ये? 50 किलोमीटर. तो यहाँ तक कैसे पहुँचे? Okay, that चार्ज करा के आया. स्पीड कितना जाता है? 50. उससे फास्ट तो मेरा स्कूटर जाता है. पता है सर. And then that conversation led to such a beautiful thing. They offered a free Tiger Reserve ride.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, they were so fascinated the fact that somebody from Karnataka is traveled on an electric scooter and just came to this place because we saw that. And they're like, aap safari loge? And unfortunately, we didn't have enough time to do the safari because we had to reach Nagpur. And Nagpur was about 150 kilometers, I think, around that somewhere. And due to which we could not this thing. That कितना घंटा लेगा? सर 6 घंटे का राइड है. Like नहीं, उतना तो टाइम हमारे पास नहीं है. I can't. And then we said, okay, thank you. हम निकलते हैं यहाँ से. Then they got some fruits, they got some water bottles and everything. And like आपके journey के लिए काम आएगा, आप इसमें डाल दो. जगह है ना डिक्की में. And I opened the dicky and showed there this thing jagah, put all the stuff into that, and then we started riding from there. It was like beautiful. It was like, And then after that, everywhere we stopped, there's so much attention from people just because looking at a green board. The minute they saw green board, they realized it's an electric scooter and some person who's an idiot who does not have mind of his own who's riding it. And like everybody, pagal ho kya? The first question, pagal ho kya aap? That was the first question. Almost everywhere. And like, nahi. मेरे को ये करना था इसीलिए मैंने करा. एंड देन दे स्टार्ट, आपका यूट्यूब चैनल है? मैं बोला हाँ है. दे दो अभी. लाइक यूट्यूब में आने के लिए टाइम लगेगा, आप इंस्टाग्राम में फॉलो कर दो ऑल द. एंड देन यू वोंट बिलीव दे एक्चुअली फॉलोड माई जर्नी. दे यूज्ड टू मैसेज एंड आस्क अभी कहाँ पे पहुँचे हो, आप सेफ हो ना, आपको कुछ मदद चाहिए तो बोलो. ब्यूटिफुल. एंड यू नो I didn't want to put it live, right? Because a lot of time putting live can go down south. So I never put it live. I said, नहीं, मैं आज यहाँ पे नहीं हूँ, मैं थोड़ा आगे हूँ. So that is.
But you know, this is where I like to bring this point. It's not about, I mean, this is something that's trending and it's obnoxiously irritating a lot of Bangaloreans and also to a lot of large sense India as well. That they say Bangalore doesn't know to speak Hindi and we're not welcoming. But in the whole country, when they say Atati Deva Bhava, it is spread across the country.
Exactly.
And you have someone from the south going across Chennai, all these places, speaking and conversing with people in Hindi. That's one part. The second part is people care about you.
Exactly.
Like when they see something is happening, okay, I hope he's reached safe. So they're following up for whatever, the excitement, whatever, but then there is a lot of care.
Correct.
And that's how beautiful the country is, not just in one part, but across.
You won't believe, at today's point of time, I have contact across the country. Wherever I go, I have my Baka community boys just at one message waiting for me just to escort in multiple motorcycles if I tell them I'm there. So which was about my recent ride, which I'll definitely talk to you. There was a very funny story that I want to share. But then this is how it was. And then I was in Jammu. Once a cop came to me, like, कहाँ जा रहे हो? I said, Ladakh. इसमें? हाँ सर. मजाक कर रहा है क्या? Like, नहीं सर, इसी में जा रहा हूँ. कहाँ से उठा के लेके आई? ऐसे कर्नाटका से लेके आओ. चला के? हाँ सर. नहीं यार, झूठ मत बोलो ना. सच बता. नहीं सर, झूठ. इसका पेपर निकालो.
Typical.
I gave him the paper. Then he saw every document is right and this thing. Shook a hand. बढ़िया यार, बढ़िया कर रहे, चल जा जा. And he let me go. And that clipping is also there in my Insta on Weekend on Wheels 52. That's my Insta handle. You can see that clipping. You know, he's giving me a pat and like having a good conversation. And he's like, okay. Then like कावा पी लेना बहुत बढ़िया रहता है. हाँ जरूर सर पी लेंगे हम कावा पी लेंगे. And I go from there. And then we were staying in Sonmarg. And that's where again morning a set of riders and trekkers were there. Morning when I'm moving towards my scooter, there's a huge pack standing and looking at the scooter. And I went, आपका है क्या? I said, हाँ मेरा है. कहाँ से आए हो आप? Other guy says, कर्नाटका. चला के आए हो? हाँ सर. ये कैसा चलता है?
From such stern voice to just settling it down.
Exactly, ये कैसा चलता है? मुझे ना मेरे बेटी के लिए चाहिए था. ऐसे बहुत ही बढ़िया चलता है सर. अगर मैं बैंगलोर से यहाँ तक पहुँचता हूँ तो आपको पता रहेगा.
Now through this journey, you know, there are plenty of challenges that happen. You understand the batteries and stuff. Could you say, I don't know how to put this, like, you know, do you say you could clock an average or this was the maximum you could do in a day?
So we used to clock an average about 260 kilometers. But then there are days when the batteries outperformed and we've done even 310 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah, because what happens, the region kicks in, especially in mountain areas. In plateaus, you don't never get best of the mileage because you're just going in one single straight speed and there's no region happening. But when you have ups and downs, that's when the battery does the best performance. It gets you the highest mileage and also the temperature. Because the weather is cold there and automatically the battery gets optimum, right? So that's why you got better mileage and better this. And so I remember one place we were staying in Kargil, and Kargil to Leh is 130 kilometers. And I just did that in 2 batteries, which means each battery performed 70 plus kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah. So otherwise, which used to give us 55 kilometers average, this gave us more. And with just one single swap, I was able to reach Leh from Kargil, which was fantastic. So batteries perform the best in the weather condition which is suitable, which is cold weather, and also in the places where you have ups and downs.
Right.
Right, that's where your battery will perform the best and will get better because of the region.
What about, like, say, in some of the electric bike, like what I have, or some that are there, there are different modes that are
Yes,
there.
yes.
So when you hit onto the fast mode or warp mode of sorts,
Yes.
does that drain your battery? I mean, in terms of mileage, I definitely understand.
Yes.
But then, like, when you're doing something like this,
Yes.
does that affect it?
Yes, so that will drain your battery faster because you're in the highest motor capacity and it will burn out faster. But here,
No, I'm talking in terms of battery life, not longevity in terms of the travel.
okay.
But in terms of battery life, will that play an effect?
Yes, also will play an effect because then the number of recycles that you'll have to charge your battery is going to affect, right? So your battery is based on the number of recycles you can have. When I say recycle, is the
Number of charge cycles.
Yes. So it's similar like if you're using warp charger or when you're using fast charger, your battery life is consumed faster. So each of these manufacturer will have saying that so many charges. So once you've done with so many charges, the battery life is when it starts depleting.
What about, like, say, these places? There are some amazing roads I got to see in the video as well.
Yes.
Which is your favorite path? Or
So my favorite path is getting to Zozila.
Okay.
That's when you first get a taste of climbing the mountains, and to the left hand side you have snow, thick snow. Right hand side you have snow, a river passing, and pure milky white water that you can see in freezing cold. And the terrain. Now the terrains are good, but then when I did it, it was completely broken terrain. I'm actually doing off road on an electric scooter.
yeah, I was wondering how.
Yes, and at the end of the day, it's a state of mind what you want to achieve, right? And if you want to do it, you will do it, no matter what conditions given. And it was fantastic the way the scooter performed, and I was easily able to do that. And a best part of electric scooter is there's no vibration, right? Because it's just one motor which powers the entire scooter, and you are going, and you do not feel that you're riding.
Seamless.
Seamless, zero vibration. Only things you'll have to maneuver around, and since I am a avid motorcyclist and I've traveled across the country in different terrain, off-road, highway, mountains and everything, it was easy for me to maneuver because it's a lighter scooter. So it's easy to maneuver around, but you need to have a tunnel vision kind of thing where you have the longest side and plan your route. So if you're having 100-meter this thing, you need to know how are you going to maneuver through that. So if you have that in mind in advance, you can easily maneuver and you can clear off.
Now, when you talk about these terrains and these sort of things, right, it's very difficult for us to think, okay, electric bike and sort of things, but then to break this record, or to hold this record, what is this record that you set?
So this record that I set up was the longest distance traveled by an electric swappable battery scooter from Kanyakumari to Khardungla, which is 4,400 plus kilometers, from the southernmost tip of a country to the topmost place of a country, which is Khardungla. When I did this record, Khardungla was the highest motorable road, and today we have Umlingla, which is 19,000 feet above sea level, but then that time it was Khardungla. So we achieved.
I know it's going to be a stupid question, but let me just still throw it out. Let's say you have an electric bike that's a little long distance, I mean, range is a little more than what you went on. Do you think you can take an electric bike without swappable batteries?
No.
Since you've done it, I'm
yes,
asking.
I can definitely do. It's not a non-doable activity, but then the number of days will increase because currently the highest range that any electric motorcycle that can give, motorcycle or scooter, is about 300 kilometers, which is claimed by ultraviolet. And real world could be around 250, 270, whatever. So again, you can clock around 270 kilometers, and then you'll have to charge it and then do the ride.
These chargings that you had, like, for your swappable batteries, how long would those charges have to be for?
Each battery, if you are using a fast charger, it would charge around 3.5 hours. And if you're using the regular 5 amp charger, then it will take around 6 hours.
So which means everywhere you reached, you spent time in just unplugging.
Yes. So everywhere I reached, what we used to do is I go immediately. I used to charge, put the batteries on charge, and then keep a timer, and every 3.5 hours,
Swap. Oh, so one charger and...
So initially we had that, then I tried to get a couple of more chargers, but then still had to make sure after 3.5 hours you have to change and get that. So there are a lot of challenges. It's how you plan and execute it is what matters. So You need to be you need to understand the challenges which are involved in advance and create a solution for it in advance so that you can do it seamless.
Wow, man. And this is all self-funded.
Yes, when I started, it was self-funded, but then when we kind of achieved the feat that we wanted to achieve, it was then sponsored.
By Bounce.
Bounce, yes.
Oh, wow. And these vehicles are there for B2C right now?
Yes, so they have the vehicles for B2C now, B2B in fact. B2C, they've stopped the their business, but then they're big in B2B. That's where they believe there's profitability, because B2C was not really making good for them.
Man, I'm sorry, Bounce, because I've been a fan of this bike, so never used them though. But it was a great revolution for transport within the city. But sad, certain really good things had to see its end in the city.
Exactly. But then nonetheless, they're still running, so that's the best part of it.
Wishing you guys the best, man.
Yes, super.
In terms of travel, the most important factors that come into play and give you that experience is food.
Yes.
You've traveled across the country before this?
Yes.
Right? During this time, I'm sure when you're riding like something like this with a lot of the stress and factors that are playing to it, you will savor every bite that you have. Which was the bite that you savored the most? Like,
for me, I think Tamil Nadu was the best bite that
Starting only.
Starting only. I think you get the best of the dosas, idlis, vadas, and the chutneys, man. I mean, trust me, you will not get those chutneys anywhere else. Like the tricolor chutneys that they give you, red, white, and green. I think one of the best that you get. And then you just enjoy that thing. I think that's where I enjoyed my food the most. And then, of course, Karnataka. When I was in Bangalore, I enjoyed my food the most. And then we went to Andhra, biryani came into play. And then,
So the food, it didn't matter what you were eating.
It didn't matter. But the only challenge which we faced was once you get up north, right? Most of the places that you get is maida, not atta. And that can take a toll on your digestive system, because maida do not digest so fast as atta does. So you need to be very, very careful in terms of your food intake and how much quantity you take, because your health has to be at the best of the condition. You can't spoil your tummy and then, realize that things go wrong. So that's very important to do that.
Now, with respect to food, like, the lighter the food down south, the heavier as you go north,
Exactly.
right? Did that affect you in some cases?
No, because I knew my diet was a very strict diet then, and I was very clear as to what I wanted to eat. Most of the places I used to have dal and roti, simple food, and dal, you can never go wrong with that, because that's the freshest food that you can probably get. I used to avoid veggies and meat also, because we don't know if it's stale or old or whatever it is. With dal, you can never go wrong. If dal and rice was there, dal and rice was my choice. If there was no rice, then I used to swap to roti and used to ask if it's maida or atta. And if it's maida, stick to one roti max, not beyond that. And if it was atta, maybe 2 rotis.
One of the reasons this also is important is because when you're on the road, especially with not that high speed ranges, is controlling the stomachs.
Exactly. Very, very true. So that's why I carried a lot of energy bars, and of course sneaker was one of my best friend throughout the ride, because that used to give me immediate sugar rush and the energy that I wanted. And energy bars play a big role in that place. And as you go up north, right, especially once you cross Madhya Pradesh and further, the food becomes too oily. That's the way they do.
It's very rich.
Very rich, and especially in Ladakh, the food is very oily. The reason is to grease your body, because the cold weather condition.
Yeah.
Yes, you get that bone pains and all those things. That's why they make a little greasy food. For us down south, we immediately can't handle such food in higher quantity. If you eat moderate, it's okay, but if you eat too much because you like it or enjoy eating that food, can take a toll on your tummy.
And when it comes to the record, in its sense, right? So this is not a Guinness record, but it's like a world record.
It was India Book of Record. The Guinness Book of Record, it took a little time, because we had to write to England people and then get a response, and their response came too late before we could this thing.
Because they need to be there to document it.
Yes, that's why.
But what if you were giving them the document, it wouldn't work?
No, they have to first validate what you're doing and all those things. So there's a longer process, and if you can crack the process, literally in the true sense, if Guinness record was to be a part of it, we would have got the Guinness record also.
Right.
Because there's nobody in the world who's done a electric K2K ride by then.
Like the distance at least.
Distance, or even the ride for that matter. On a swappable battery scooter, nobody had done that. That was the only person in the world who had done it.
But you're not someone who sits quiet with just that one record. You ended up doing something this year also.
Yes. So I tell you, right, I'm super energetic and proactive in doing stuff. And then there's this company called Greaves Electric Mobility, and they have this product called Ampere Magnus Neo. And it was they had a previous version called Magnus, and they were going to launch a Magnus Neo. And Auto Expo was around the corner, and they wanted to launch at Auto Expo. And I got the opportunity to work with them, and then they said, "Can we do a record?" I said, "Of course, why not? I've done that.
I'm the record man.
I've done it in the past. I can definitely try doing that. I didn't want to be overconfident, but then I said, it's been a while. It's been 2 years since I did last. Now let's try to do it again." And then I knew the planning. I knew the road back of my hand, the entire road. And a month before that, I had taken the same road to Prayagraj. So I had driven from my hometown Bangalore to Prayagraj on a car.
This is during the
Kumbh Mela, yes.
Oh.
So I did a Prayagraj drive also. And that road was just back of my hand. So all I had to do is do the back end part of it. How many batteries do I need? Where are the stops? How am I going to do it? And what's my team? And I said, my team is my team. I am going to decide. I can't have any random person coming in, because I will lose sometime my cool, and only my guys understand how it feels, and they're okay with putting up with me. Not new people will put up with me. So I said, this is my team. So I said, okay, let's do it. And I started my ride from Bangalore, and this time I was super shocked. It looked like Delhi was much closer than what otherwise it is.
Because you've only done the longer distance.
Exactly. So this was about 2,400 kilometers, and it was 7 days. And like, wow.
More than Delhi, I think the destination felt smaller.
Exactly. For me, this distances didn't mean too much at all. I mean, even before the ride started, I felt it got over. It finished. Really. I mean, the last time when I did the electric ride was 17 days. And this was less than half of the time, right? And we were already in Delhi, and time just flew by. I was super shocked myself, and I'm like, am I become a superhuman, or was it easy for me to do this? Or is it for real that it was simple and easy?
Well, let's put you in a tough. Was this bike better than the other one?
Okay, let's put it the other way around. All electric bikes more or less are the similar, right? Because they have one single motor and powered with the X KVs and all those things, and they will ride the same. Unlike others, fuel-based motorcycles or scooters, there's RPM to attain, and you based on that your speed is determined, and the mileage is determined, all those things. Here, the scooter which I rode was the record which I did was the longest ride on a city speed family scooter.
Right.
Okay, that was the record which was set. And again, the top speed was 60 kilometers. Battery life was 60 kilometers. I had to swap the battery again. One good thing was these were LFP batteries, which was 20% better in terms of battery life range that you could get. And the seat, I must say, was super comfortable. I never ever felt that good on any other motorcycle or scooter till date. This seat just didn't made me feel that I was sitting on a scooter at all. It was more like a sofa for me. I'm literally sitting on a sofa.
Too comfy.
Too comfy. And just did the ride, and the ride was so good. And this was extreme end. So when I did my bounce ride, it was super hot. And when I did this, it was super cold. I was riding in temperatures of 6 degrees, 5 degrees, 7 degrees, even including
For
Bangalore.
all that complaining about the heat, here I'm going to give you this.
Yes, but then here the complaint was too cold to ride. And to add on to that, once you go up north, the fog and the mist is so strong, your visibility is less than 50-100 meters.
Right.
And especially, you might have heard in the Noida road, Delhi road and all, a lot of accidents happen because of smog.
It's too thick.
Too thick. And we were riding in that. And if you want to really experience what I'm talking, you should look at the reels in my page, Weekend on Wheels. All the reels are there, and then you will say, whoa, what was this?
I understand it to a certain point of riding in mist, because I did something very basic, which was Feb in Goa, and it through the fields and you couldn't see anything.
Oh wow, that's
so I had to put the indicator on for some extra light. And we reached. It was. I don't think it's as bad as what you're saying, because I've seen those videos. They're terrible, and I don't know how people ride in them, because at least for a kilometer you can't see things, right? And it's
And
very
a lot
dangerous.
of accidents happen just because there's an accident happen and you can't. It's in between the smog or the fog, and you can't see. And the other guy is coming in full ramp speed, and then he'll just come and hit him. So it was that, and I was warned by so many localites that don't ride so early in the morning. And I said, no, I cannot ride otherwise. It becomes too difficult. I need to start early. I need to reach the next destination as soon as possible, and try avoid traffic. Try avoid. Crosswinds, because it's a lighter scooter, right? So whenever there's a lorry or a big car passing,
It will sway.
and it'll just sway to your left or right, and that's the most dangerous things can happen, because there's not enough weight on the scooter for it to stick in the ground. But then when there's crosswind, it'll just push you. And I had a couple of places where this happened, where there's big lorries, they'll just boom.
I know a lot of people who don't know what crosswinds are.
Okay.
Not like it's general knowledge, but in sense, like suddenly when you're riding, and because something passed by, you suddenly feel a little sway. It's not because you don't have control.
Exactly.
It's because of that movement of the air.
And what happens is, basically, if you're riding one way, right, and then there's a vehicle or a big truck going, right, at that point of time, there's a vacuum created there.
Correct.
And then the wind, whatever is coming here, is resisted, and the minute it goes, that wind will just come
to you.
and you'll just get. And that need not be just with the vehicle. Sometimes there are natural crosswinds where there's wind blowing from right and left, and when that happens, and when you meet there, you sway again and you go here and there, and that's one of the most dangerous things.
So these are the rides that you've done, but you also, from radio to starting your own business, now you're not just a motor enthusiast, but let's say you're a motor influencer, because you test bikes, you review them for brands and stuff, you make a living out of it. Just to throw it out, I'm not going to put you under the bus, but let's see how this goes. Which is the best electric bike in the market?
Ampere.
Because he sponsored you.
No, but then I've ridden enough, and I know for sure it's seen its testing period, and it's really good.
So, in terms of range, which is the best one?
Ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet. And performance?
So if you're purely looking from the power performance, ultraviolet today gives you the best performance.
But that's more like a bike.
Yeah, bike. So you're talking from scooter?
Like a scooter perspective.
Then, of course, that is Ampere Nexus.
You're saying it's better than Ather?
You're putting me into fix.
Because I always thought Ather was good, not because I have it, but I'm just thinking because of the performance and the durability and everything.
Okay, so I would recommend you to also ride this. They both are equally good. Let's put it that way. Both are equally good.
And which is value for money?
Ampere for sure.
What does it cost? Like?
So your entry level Ampere would cost you about 70,000 rupees. And somebody who wants to really use it for best of both worlds. So when I say best of both worlds, if you want to use it for personal use or commercial use, that will be the best thing to do.